Howdy frickin' doody. Ricky Flicks. Fantastic Four. First Steps. Trailer is here. Marvel's First Family is officially a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Might not be on the same world as most of these characters, but yes, they are part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We got the first trailer, Ricky Flex, movie coming out July 25th, 2025. Initial reactions, right? We just had Superman trailer last month. Here comes Fantastic Four First Steps. Both of these films will have a July release. What was your initial reactions?
Yeah, I think so for starters, you mentioned the Superman trailer, right? And that's kind of like James Gunn trying to get back to that core Superman that we've been missing, right? Back to the old Superman, the comic book Superman for the most part. And I feel like Marvel's trying to do the same thing here. You know, it's trying to cling back to the fans saying, trust us. We know what you guys want. We are trying to give you something different, right? Not the usual MCU-ified. Like, this is not what Phase 6 is going to be about. We're going to give you the Fantastic Four, Marvel's First Family. We're focusing on the early comics in the early 60s for the most part. And we can get into some Easter eggs regarding that. But it gives you the vibrant colors here. It gives you 60s aesthetic vibes everywhere. It even gave you the 4:3 aspect ratio on the visuals when they're touring the Baxter building, and a lot of the 60s aesthetic versus this usual 16:9 widescreen that you get with most MCU movies. I think that's a Matt Shakman, WandaVision director, little twist there. Really, really focused on that aspect, which I think, again, is just to kind of show, like, we know what we're doing, guys. As in Marvel's telling us, like, trust us or try to trust us. We're trying to gain your trust back. So again, like connecting back to Superman, I feel like that I kind of got that vibe also with Superman with James Gunn, and I'm getting it here as well. So I like the 90-second teaser. I thought it gave us a lot for a teaser, and it was, again, 90 seconds. It showed us the big bad. It gave us a look at another potential villain. It showed 3 out of 4 superpowers. It gave us a lot. So overall, I like the trailer. It gave us more than I expected out of it, and not too much though, which I liked.
I'm on the other side. I think it really didn't tell us really much of anything. I think this was almost a perfectly executed teaser trailer. This was really cool to watch. It establishes the setting, which was a huge question mark. Is it going to be 1960s in the 616? It's going to be alternate, right? Earth, right? From the same Marvel Cinematic Universe, retro futuristic 1960s. You definitely got that from the vibe, right? From the music, from the Easter eggs, from the cars that are being driven around, right? From the talk show, from the style, family, nuclear family type of feel that the Fantastic Four had. They gave you also the characters. They give you a classic look, the light blue and white, early 1960s Fantastic Four look. And they give you comic accuracy. So I think this one told you we're going to make sure it's Marvel centric, and it's going to be something that fans have been clamoring for from the failed last 2 franchises that were supposed to spark the Fantastic Four. This is going to be true to what the fans know and love. And I think it's also kind of refreshing of a trailer. It looks different from the rest of the MCU. And that's like also, I think, why it's similar to Superman. It's like that was refreshing. It is a Superman that is devoted, like you were saying, to the original incarnation of the character, what people grew up on, you know, and they know the characters to be. That's what this was feeding, right? The MCU faithful. But the look of it, Ricky, this is a different palette, man. This does not look like the same thing. I can get used to this 1960s futuristic retro Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, Ricky, can we stay here?
We're not staying here, and they even told us in this teaser trailer.
I have a theory on this. I think a lot of people assume that this group will be going to the 616 at the end of this movie. And they're talking about going to space again. And then obviously, if you want to connect it to what's happened in space before with the end of the Marvels and the introduction of like the other X-Men and other realities, yeah, you could say it's kind of teasing that. But I think Marvel can play it a little bit smart here. You know, what they could do is actually have this be the home of Doomsday. This could be the setting for Doomsday. And this could be like a soft reboot a little bit. Because Victor Von Doom, the one that looks like Tony Stark, might be a variant, might be from this world. Chris Evans is going to be in Doomsday. I know we're talking about Fantastic Four. I'm going off on this, but like he's not in the 616. Why don't we just have his iteration, his new iteration of Captain America in this world, right? Do we have to have Doomsday in the 616 when this is so new, fresh, and exciting? Why can't, and who do we even want aside from Spider-Man in the 616 anyway? You know, let's just keep it fresh and new. Like, this is a new start for the MCU. This place looks sick.
One teaser trailer, and we're already trying to change the entire MCU.
Don't you think everyone already thinks that these people would be going to the 616? Wouldn't be a nice case of misdirection if they changed it up?
I think it would be, but you invested too much in every single other property, and you're having 2 Avengers movies, not 1, 2. And yes, of course, one is called Doomsday, and Dr. Doom will be the formidable villain, and that's the Fantastic Four's big bad. I just can't see, like, you have to have other properties, and you're going to have all these other properties leave one planet to go to this planet with just one other property. Like, that doesn't make sense business-wise or story-wise. But I don't hate what you're saying, because if you look at the recent Marvel releases post, I don't know, Endgame, and maybe actually Far From Home, Thor: Love and Thunder, Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Marvel's Captain America Brave New World trailer, Thunderbolts trailer, they all have that Marvelized feel to it. This did not. This felt different.
I love it.
Not just for the look, but also like when they're talking about like the Fantastic Four, it's their first steps, first family. You could see that focus in this trailer. Sunday dinners, 7:00 on the dot, right?
Nuclear family.
You feel that, right? And you feel the different, like you just feel how it's different than the phase 5 and 4 of the MCU. And I think it's such a breath of fresh air. If you said that already, I apologize. And I don't blame you for saying that. It would be a nice soft reboot, but the problem is, it's just they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I actually don't know if they're going to do that.
Like, can I give you one Easter egg, since we're just talking about it now, and I want to bring it up when it's off topic? Like Reed Richards, his like highlight in this, because he is the only one that doesn't get to show his superpowers. Is it because the CGI is not ready yet? I think so, but that's another conspiracy for another day. It's him working on the chalkboard. And what is he doing? He's creating the bridge to observe parallel worlds, aka a multiversal bridge to connect to probably Earth 616.
But what if they're going to him?
That's just a lot of people to go to that world.
Not really, because you just need who? Captain America and Spider-Man. You don't need anybody else. Maybe Doctor Strange.
We'll see. I don't hate it. I just don't want to get my hopes up for this.
But moving back to what we did see in the trailer, and kind of not going to Easter eggs yet, let's talk about these characters, because this is a cast that, I mean, for so long, we have been keeping up to date with, all right, who's going to be Marvel's first family? Who's going to be Reed Richards? Okay. Who is going to play the Thing, and who's going to be dressed up almost like what Mark Ruffalo has been doing for all these years? Who's taking on that type of role? What's the Thing going to look like, sound like? We finally have a bit of an answer here, Ricky Flex. Marvel's first family we see. I think the takeaway I saw is, like, a huge question mark I had was the Thing. Like, what's he going to look like? Is he going to look Michael Chiklis-esque, right? And almost like a big, like a puff type of action figure? Is he going to be more comic accurate, Jack Kirby style? That's pretty much what we got here. We have the protruding forehead. You got the overarching eyebrows. And then you got basically a regular Eben Moss Backrack voice. And it also seems like this teaser's trailing that the Thing is going to have what seems like a common type of subplot to Fantastic Four movies, and him dealing with him being this rock being and being formerly human, a good-looking human, and someone that is basically not of everyone else's species, and how he comes to terms with that. What did you think of the Thing and his look here?
So I knew this was going to be a look because, like you just talked about, and what we talked about off the top, they're going back to core early '60s Fantastic Four and those comics. So you knew, and also we got almost a year ago today, Valentine's Day last year, we got the poster of the cast and how they were going to look. So you knew they were going to look at it, look like this. But obviously, we have not seen a teaser or a poster of the actual live action people. So this was big, like you said, this was a big test, and this was the right thing to do. I'll say I think I prefer the other look better. I'm not saying they should do that. I think they made the right decision, but like I don't know. I think I like the '06, the OG, or not OG, but like the first iteration of live action Fantastic Four thing better.
You're an '05 chickless guy.
Yeah, I think I am just by the look.
I think I loved it. I like the look more than the voice. I think that he actually looks really good in the Fantastic Four costume. Like you didn't have that in the original Fantastic Four.
That's true.
He's naked up top, right? He looked really good in that, and I feel like this trailer was kind of showing off the thing, and they were showing off Johnny Storm. I feel like him and the special effects there, the incredible shots that are captured when he goes from flame off right into the stars there into space,
I look
but
pretty good.
also it's such a cool shot. And then also having the thing sprinting right with the suit on. I'm like, God damn, this is giving me a little bit of goosebumps right now. This is actually really cool to see. I do think they might have to touch up a little bit with like the words matching up with the mouth
This is
of
what I
the
was gonna
thing.
say.
I don't think it's exactly perfect here. And I also think that, I mean, Eben Moss Backrack, he sounds like he's in Goodfellas. Like he has zero gravel in the voice. He's talking about like the sauce that he's making alongside Herbie. Like I don't know if I love that he just sounds like a guy who should be cooking. I mean, cooking pasta with Paulie in prison. Like that's what he sounds like here when you hear once again comparison to Chicklets and the gravel and the rough and tough type of approach.
For me, I totally agree with you with the lining up during that kitchen scene. I've rewatched the show multiple times and rewound it just for that scene multiple times. Each iteration of me watching this, and I'm just like, something's just off here with the voice and uh, mouth. Like there's something wrong. And for me, I like the chickless voice. And here, like
It's clobbering time.
I like it. I know. I think it's just my like again my birthday party was at this movie, so I am biased. I am wholeheartedly biased. All
8 years
right.
old.
Yeah, 8 years old. My eighth birthday, going to see this movie. But for here, like I like Emma Boss Backrack. Like in the flashback scenes, like when he's like, and good look, you mean good looking or whatever. That was great. But like in the actual costume, it just felt to me the vibes of like someone that's doing a voice performance for an animated movie that was on set for 30 minutes. That's all I'll say on that. But that's just the vibe of this 90-second teaser trailer I got out of him.
Yeah, because I think with the Hulk, with Ruffalo, he actually kind of looked like Ruffalo. You
Right.
know, you don't get that. It's impossible. It's the thing. The guy's made of rocks. So
But
it's
like
like
Chickless, like they kind of did. They tried.
that's because Michael Chiklis looked like the thing more than the thing looked like Michael Chiklis. That was what we call
Look at me.
perfect casting in the biz. Perfect casting. They had a great dynamic with him and Chris Evans. You don't get that much. You don't really get that dynamic at all with Joseph Quinn and I almost said Michael Chiklis and Eben Moss Backrack here. So they kind of saved that. But I think that they really showed off not a lot of dialogue for Johnny Storm, but him flying through
None.
New York was so sick. Like I thought that was awesome. And then the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. They don't show her going invisible. I like that they say, hey, she can do other stuff here. And her like doing the force field, I think was really cool. I don't think they did enough of that in the Jessica Alba version of the character. They were more concerned of like imagine it's also like incredible casting. People are just imagining what Jessica Alba looks like when she has to shed her clothes and then she goes invisible. You know, it's just this one. They're not feeding it to you yet, but I think the visuals are pretty cool with the force field. You know, and then also Reed Richards doesn't get to do anything in this trailer. So that's where I'm also saying this trailer gave you stuff, but really didn't give you everything, especially when it came to the team.
Yeah, don't forget, like this movie finished filming in the fall. Like
Yeah.
they're definitely still working on the VFX. Hence why you don't get a true Invisible Woman here, or anything from Reed Richards. Obviously, the most vulnerable to VFX out of the four. So
Yes.
that's why I let me pose this question here. All right, this is like another like similar thing with the voice lineup with the thing. Vanessa Kirby, she looks the part, blonde. To your traditional comic book Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, right? But I don't know, something about her here. It felt off that she was in a superhero movie.
Like when she was doing the force field thing and she
It
had
felt off, dude.
looking like a kaleidoscope like through the
Yeah, like
screen.
Mission Impossible. Oh, she's not Ethan Hunt or a spy. She's a courier or whatever. Like that's perfect. Here, like I just don't believe that she's a superhero. I don't know. I look at her. I'm like, oh, that's the Crown. That's a capital A actor. I don't know, like because beforehand I was so bought in because I love her as an actress, and she's obviously like prototype for Sue Storm. But just watching her on this teaser trailer, I'm just like, I don't think she's a superhero.
I don't know. She didn't stand out in the trailer, but I don't think she was bad in the trailer. I think Reed Richards, like Pedro Pascal, like you could tell he's the leader of the team, even though he didn't show off any powers. Like you could tell like he has the cadence down. Like he is the father. He is the prototypical role model for the family. I feel like Vanessa Kirby was just kind of there, but we haven't seen the movie yet, so we don't know. Right. All we saw is like her using her powers and then her kind of introducing us to all the team, and saying Johnny's Johnny and the thing. And Ben Grimm has always been the rock, right, of the family, even before he was made of rocks, So I felt like her job in the trailer was just to explain the characters and, hey, these are the comic characters that you love. And now watch me move things with my mind. It's like that's like her job the entire time. But I also wanted to talk about, well, we already hit non-elastic Mr. Fantastic. So I feel like that was a huge sign that, okay, this movie is not done. It has a ways to go, but it has some things to show off, like the thing, not perfect yet. Johnny Storm, not perfect yet. Well, honestly, Johnny Storm is pretty good. They were probably pretty confident in that shit.
Hey, thoughts on the blonde hair?
Honestly, he didn't have any dialogue. The only time you really saw the blonde hair was like maybe twice, quick glimpses.
Are you shocked that they gave him blonde hair though? Because that's like not his natural hair color. Obviously,
Dark.
Sue Storm blonde, so the connectivity there. But like Chris Evans didn't have blonde hair. Obviously, Michael B. Jordan did not have blonde hair. Like this is the first time they're doing that.
It's a little jarring, because you look at the comic accuracy. That's what this trailer was. So he has to have blonde hair, and Joseph Quinn must be a pretty dang good Johnny Storm for him to be dyeing his hair and go different from what everyone knows him as. It's like he has to be this character.
Gladiator 2, he had red hair.
He just dyes his hair, whatever, right? People just like Joseph Quinn. And he was a huge question mark for a lot of people in this movie. This does not answer any of those questions whatsoever. But when he flames on, he looks freaking sick.
We like
and
him.
Then where else do we want to go? Quick look at Galactus. This is the fastest look I think we could have gotten, and we got it from behind, maybe because they haven't finished touching up the face. I have no idea. But once again, comic accuracy. This is not a big cloud from Rise of the Silver Surfer. This is comic accurate, monstrous Galactus. So we got him, John Malkovich. He appeared. People think he's going to be playing the Red Ghost, which is another villain. Absent, no Silver Surfer. Okay, so just quick, I guess, touchings here on the characters. Galactus, quick look. John Malkovich, no Silver Surfer, right? I guess start with who we actually saw, right? What are your anticipation levels for, like, I guess Malkovich as this like secondary Fantastic Four character?
Yeah. Oh, so for Malkovich.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we were thinking like maybe he was playing the voice actor of Herbie. Like, remember that?
I was not thinking that.
No, but like that was like a fan casting at the start. And like you already knew Galactus was going to be here. You already knew the Silver Surfer was going to be here. You're adding now freaking potentially Red Ghost. And that I do understand that fan theory because he, Red Ghost, Ivan Kragoff, Russian. John Malkovich can play a Russian. High intellect. John Malkovich plays people with high IQs a lot. And scientists, whatever. And he has like long gray hair, like in the trailer. That's
a new one. That's unfamiliar for Malkovich.
That is new. But like in the trailer, we see him have that, like the Red Ghost does in the comics. So this is interesting. The thing is, No pun intended. The thing is, the Red Ghost has super apes with him. Are they going to have super apes on top of this? On top of a Galactus, on top of a Silver Surfer, on top of the Red Ghost? Are they going to have his super apes with him? He has 3 super apes that all have like different superpowers as well. So like, are they going to have that too? This is going to now is turning into a bigger movie than you think, as in like a lot of things in 2 hours.
I mean, monkeys have gone to space before.
True.
They have, but I think I don't know. Having this secondary villain, I'm not so sure about it. And they're willing to, and it's John Malkovich, so you know it's not going to be someone that they throw aside, you know. And I think they might be doing that with Paul Walter Hauser, with him potentially as like Mole Man. Like he could be a quick throwaway villain that they fight at the beginning of the movie, just to kind of establish these are their powers. This is how well they work together, right? They're thick as thieves, right? And this is the Fantastic Four. Dispose of Paul Walter Hauser. No offense, Paul Walter Hauser. I love you, PWH, right? One of the best follows on Twitter, right? Retweeted me a couple weeks ago. Thank you, PWH. But I think you're going to be disposed of pretty quickly. Like I thought, I saw him being cast in this. I thought of the end of The Incredibles going into The Incredibles 2. That's exactly it. Like he's that guy. Like he's just, we'll throw him away. But this Red Ghost guy is pretty formidable when you think of like he is a mad scientist. He is someone that is trying to kind of replicate the accident that happens with the Fantastic Four, and he like has these super apes, and he gets these like superpowers as well. It might be we're tacking on a lot here, especially because we did not even see the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer has not been shown. Also, is that a special effects thing? There's so much special effects that go into this movie, which also makes it kind of impressive. But by the way it looked, you know, it's not like CGI heavy. Usually that's like a huge like red flag for Marvel. But by the way this movie looks, right, and the setting it has, I don't know. I don't view it as much of a concern. I just think it's not finished yet. But I think there might be people talk about Superman having too many characters. Does Fantastic Four have too many characters? It begs the question because I don't think enough people are asking it.
I agree. I think that's my huge problem with the John Malkovich storyline potentially here, as the Galactus Silver Surfer storylines already massive, literally and figuratively. So, and then I guess like to just comment on Galactus here. Again, I'm shocked that we even saw him. I wasn't expecting like in a teaser trailer to see Galactus. The fact that we got the shadow over and then him overlooking the Statue of Liberty, I'll take that. I'll take that. And yes, I agree with you. It's definitely VFX why we're not getting a straight look. Or we're doing get the Ralph Innocent voice.
Yeah, why didn't they give a little bit of a taste of the voice? You know,
right?
You can't waste it. Come on, at the end of that trailer, give it to us. Come on.
I agree. So for them not to do that is interesting, but I still am kind of happy that they gave us that in 90 seconds when, again, they had to go through the 60s. What are the Fantastic Four like? Are you going to give us an origin story or just through the flashbacks? Are you going to introduce each individual person on the team? They kind of did here. They wanted to get the family atmosphere. They did a lot in this trailer. They did do a lot. And they gave us the core, and then they hinted at John Malkovich. They hinted at Galactus. I did like it. I did like it overall. I thought it was a very strong teaser trailer.
Yeah. Like the John Malkovich, they don't tell you anything. They don't tell you about the screen time, but they just let you know John Malkovich is here. You know, it was just a nice little reminder. Like you might have forgot, right? But you still have more to come. Silver Surfer is such a badass character. They do the gender swap casting, right? We'll see what that looks like on screen. I'm highly anticipating it because Silver Surfer is such a cool character. And then Galactus, there was a leak trailer from the summer, I think, and you saw Galactus's eyes peering through what looked like the Baxter Building. So I don't know, like maybe once again, just not finished yet or doesn't look ready for audiences. But I'm glad we got this trailer, Ricky Flex. I think do you think this trailer, you know, Taylor Swift is too big for the Super Bowl, like to do the halftime show? Do you think Fantastic Four was too big to be a Super Bowl trailer?
No, because Deadpool and Wolverine was a Super Bowl trailer last year.
Yes, but I feel like Captain America, Brave New World is more of a Super Bowl trailer.
I don't know, man.
This will be shown at the Super Bowl, but they debuted it a week before, almost like you see some of the best commercials a week early. That's like what they did here. It's like, we don't want the first time you see this. We want the discourse to be about Fantastic Four.
Yes, but I think it's also because they did the whole Hall H event with the cast, watching the trailer.
No, but I think they did that because they knew also like
they wanted to be event.
Yes, but I just think if it was the Super Bowl, then people would talk about it for a while. They go back to the Super Bowl, they talk about it. Now you have 5 days to just talk about the Fantastic Four trailer. And they saw how big Superman was for DC and how many people watched that within the first 24 hours, and then how it beat out like Man of Steel in only like a week. Fantastic Four, they want to put up numbers. This is the time to release it. You know, to me, it would just would have no way would have debuted just on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, you have a nice little run up here. Um, I guess like I'm a sucker for like I want to see something live. You know, like like I miss the days when I went to see a movie and then I would see the trailer the first time when I'm in the theater. I'm kind of a sucker for that. So I guess like I'm still stuck in the old ways.
Okay. I my last couple questions here before we move. Do you think this movie can open more doors to non 616 storytelling? If it's successful, if this movie does well on whatever Earth number this is, and I talk about my theory that Doomsday will take place on this planet, do you think that a different look, almost like what DC Elseworlds does, or what James Gunn's talked about with like different directors, different visions, right? Particular cities and whatever. Do you think Marvel can do that if this movie's successful?
I think they can. But the reason why I'm pushing against you a little bit is because the Avengers movie is like literally right after, you know? If like for example, so like here's to answer your question, like the yes part of it. I think this will be successful. I've been on the record saying that. And especially after this teaser trailer, I'm like very optimistic. I think they do this with the X-Men. Another family type movie. Set it up,
Okay.
no other superheroes, mutant
It's a
focused
big
world.
news.
Like, right? Because like the mutant, like think about X-Men 97 that we just watched last year. How like mutant oriented the world is, right? The X-Men kind of needs their own Earth. They really do.
Mm.
So I think this movie is going to open up the X-Men for this type of storytelling on a different Earth. And I think, like you mentioned in rebuttal to me, with the Reed Richards building the multiverse bridge, he could, you could utilize that bridge, and Marvel MCU could connect it, and then you could have an Avenger movie once you're building off these families and big IP, big properties in different worlds. That is what I would love. The problem is, do you have two Avengers movies like right after this, and like, oh God, what's another movie that's not Avengers? Spider-Man. Wait, no. Is Spider-Man before Secret Wars?
Spider-Man 4 is after Doomsday, before Secret
Right.
Wars.
That's the only other movie that is a non-Avengers movie in the MCU, right? Before Secret Wars. So like he's obviously an MCU character. So you're not going to be able to do that. If you're talking about like a 2030 Avengers movie, then yes, I totally think it works.
And there have been rumors that Spider-Man 4 will be a multiversal story.
Again.
I think that what would have been cool is if they somehow established the X-Men on their own world. Well, they kind of have. At the end of the Marvels, they kind of have their own world. That might be the world that is colliding or maybe leads to Battle World for Secret Wars. It could be that planet. It could be the 616, and it could be this Fantastic Four universe, right? Leading to Doomsday and Secret Wars, right? That could be a possibility too. But I do think it's this new world, this retro futuristic 1960s. It allows the MCU to kind of showcase talent. It's not just vanilla. It's not stale. That's what this movie is like kind of flipping on its head. And this is what the MCU needed. And I think this is why I think it's going to actually make more than Superman. I was on the record that Superman was going to make more money than Fantastic Four. I had that bet with you. But by the way this looks, I think I'm going to put my money on the MCU, and that this is it. This is the movie that will do it. We talk about bringing back Marvel, right? Is it going to be Quantumania, right? Is it going to be Deadpool and Wolverine, Guardians 3, whatever it be? This is the movie that will bring you back with characters that have promising futures in the MCU, that give you something refreshing, new, exciting, This is the movie that might be directly connected most with like a Doomsday, could introduce Doctor Doom. This is the one that will kind of kickstart rejuvenate the MCU.
and you have recognizable stars that people love, audiences love. You have a property that people love, that grew up on it, or people that can get attracted to it, similar to maybe another family-like movie that was a little different in the MCU's early days, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm.
right? Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy is a much smaller property, but like I'm saying, for like people that maybe aren't into the comics and into the lore or understanding of the lore, they'll see this and see this fresh approach and be like, "Oh, the MCU, like this movie looks pretty good. I heard that this might be pretty good. I kind of like this trailer. This looks different. I know Pedro Pascal. He looks great in this. I'm seeing this movie." So yeah, I think the MCU is just an engine that just makes money. And with this big of a property, like we said, this movie, and then you have Doomsday, and then Spider-Man, then Secret Wars. That's how much they're riding on this, right? They are riding on the Fantastic Four. So they're gonna put everything they can to make, like I just looked it up. Guardians of the Galaxy worldwide made 772 or 73 if you round up $1 million. Does this make over that?
Yes.
See, that's then yeah, Superman will not make more than that.
And when you look at, I mean, Man of Steel did not have, I guess, the hype that this new Superman movie does. That movie only made, like, I want to say between $500 and $600 million, which I say only. Well, it's 670.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
All right, pretty good.
But 670 was more than I thought. You know, it feels like this one has a lot of hype. I don't think it's going to be a large margin, the difference, but I do think Fantastic Four will prevail, even if they don't have the name recognition that like Superman does, just because it's the MCU and it's Marvel's first family, and this is going to set up a lot of things, and it's going to be an ultimate, oh my God, look what's going to come after Fantastic Four. You know, that's where Marvel also back. Thermometer Predictor, where we predict Rotten Tomato scores for upcoming Marvel films, or excuse me, upcoming films that we talk about the trailers. I'll go first. 93.
Wow.
I think this is also like, hey, I'm super like, I want to take it back immediately, but I'll hold it. I think it's going to be extremely high rated because, first of all, Marvel films typically are highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes, but also, I don't know. I think it's the critics have got stale with the MCU. I think they're going to be quick to hail this movie because it's different, right? So
my argument. That's what I was going to say. And you know what? Another movie they did that with that I mentioned already, Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what they gave that? A 92. I don't think they'll be as aggressive with this one because I do think there's some people that are like kind of superhero fatigued out. They'll appreciate it, but not love it like they were loving the Guardians. I'm going 90. So I'm still high, but I'm not going as high as you. 90 for me.
Yep. And that's Marvel. Marvel usually has the Rotten Tomatoes in a chokehold. That doesn't mean we think the movie's going to deserve a 90 or a 93. That's what we think it's going to clock in. So we'll make sure to remember that number.